morning will be Thierry Muller, Director Digital Change and Adoption, DSM. When Change Management and Agile get married for the best, please don't fall, get married for the best of a digital transformation. Thierry, it's a pleasure to have you. European citizen living at the border of France, Germany and Switzerland, which can of course only be Basel. Right, for those of you who are very good at geography, unlike me, have spent an entire career in the life science industry, started with IT, continued with change management transformation, currently driving change and adoption effort of the digital transformation. Passionate about triggering people to acquire winning mindsets and behaviors. My motto, brains reason, minds resonate. Over to you, Thierry.
Who is married? Anybody married? In the online community, a lot of people are married. Do we know that? That's the question.
Are you married?
Then my second question, how is it going? Great. But let's face it, it's not easy, is it? You know, having a long-term relationship and merging two universes of two people is not easy. And there is some similarity between exactly that, having two quite different concepts, change management and agile, and marrying them for the best and not for the worst is not an easy game. We'll see that. So let's go to the context. I'm working for DSM, and DSM is a 100-year-plus company who started with coal mining, going to petrochemical, specialty chemical, and finally focusing now on health, nutrition, and bioscience. This business, nutrition, is weighing 7 billion, and we're facing customers in 3 big segments. One is human nutrition and care, and you might recognize, our product in infant nutrition, baby food, enriched in vitamin B, C, D. Malnutrition is also part of the game. The second segment is animal nutrition and health. And as our focus is not only nutrition challenges, but also climate change, you maybe heard it. We just got an agreement to have a new molecule which is reducing substantially the methane emissions of cow, which is, as you know, quite an issue in terms of climate change. And then the last segment is food and beverages. You all know Kellogg's cornflakes, and you look at the pack, when you are in the morning, you look at the pack, what's in it, enriched in vitamin B, C, PP, B1, B2, B12, you name it. That's the third customer segment we look at. And in this company, we decided to launch a digital transformation. We call it DNA. DNA standing for Digital Nutrition Acceleration. And that's my case. Let's start with how we've organized. We decided they want to organize it in an agile way. What does that mean? For the size of this company, that means 9 tribes, 30 squads, 250 people from all horizons, marketeers, salespeople, logistics people, HR people, accountant, digital people, data scientists, developers, you name it. 250 people. And what are they doing? They're looking at what are the key digital trends and how can we apply them to all the processes, prospect to order to delivery, manufacturing, procurement, you name it. So they start to say, okay, how could automation make our business better? How could analytics make our business better? How could ecosystem partnerships make our business better? And the result of that is they create dozens of digital products. It could be a sales leakage application where the account manager understands, oh, I've lost volume with types of customer. It could be a yield improvement program where we use data to improve the production yields. It could be a simple application where people know, oh, that's the continuous improvement idea which are around the world, and I could apply it too. That could be digital twins in many, many areas. So many, many, many digital products with the objective to bring value, should it be top line, bottom line, efficiency, or customer experience advantages. And all that finally impacting potentially 20,000 people around the world. Now again, my question to the audience, including the online audience, if you hear that, what is the one word which comes into your mind? One word. Complex? Any other words? Sorry? Messy? What is the audience telling? What is the one single word? Let me help you. It starts with a C, and it's complex, but there is another word. Change. Change. Exactly. This is a bloody massive change. So, and if you are a change practitioner, you'll say, wow, massive change. That sounds pretty good, isn't it? Interesting, can have an impact, can add value. But then when you add the massive change, you say, this is a bloody massive change. How am I going to do that? This is not a very simple initiative. Some of you said complex. So how am I going to do that? And say, maybe I need, a little bit of magic. Let's have a little bit of magic. We love have the potential, or at least that sparks this impression in our brain that it will solve all our issues. And Agile is promising. Even the word is promising. Yeah, isn't it? So let's see what the Agile magic did at DSM. And it addressed, indeed, a number of things. Lack of business ownership. De facto, we have business people leading it. IT developing in the corner. No more possible. They are in squads together with the business. They can't develop something in the corner which eventually will meet the requirement. So tick in the box. The constant change of scope. We all know that the user do not know what they want. If you still believe that the user know what they want, it's just a myth. They don't know what they want and not even express it clearly to the audience. So the change of scope is a constant. And yes, with this rhythm of Agile, we are tackling that. Tick in the box. Where is it? Somewhere here. Yeah, impatient of the business. We know that they don't want to wait 3 years to see the first result. They want to wait 3 weeks. Again, with the iterative rhythm, we are basically fixing that. User-centric. For sure, we have users in the squad together with the business. Wide adoption guaranteed and full value delivery. Okay, bit of a nice picture, isn't it? When reality kicks in, the green becomes to be orange and sometimes red. So what did we experience? Yes, we have business people in our tribe and squad. But all these people are European. It's a Euro-centric design because the headquarters are in Europe. So what about the requirement of the Chinese? And what about the requirement of the Latin people and the North American people and the people in Singapore and APAC? So we just realized we're pretty much Eurocentric, and very quickly we start struggling with getting adoption in this region. Not a surprise. The second thing we realized is change management in terms of capability and capacity was lacking everywhere. And the third thing is we didn't find in any example or methodology a simple way to scale this amount of digital product across 3 business groups, 5 regions in a simple way. So what's the process to scale a digital product, not only 12 across a very complex environment? That doesn't exist. And last and most importantly is we're just getting a fraction of the value. So the promise of having this digital product rolled out worldwide and having the full value just starts to vanish. And that's where the business leader starts to be a bit nervous, at least. So, what's the solution? One solution could be in 4 steps. You start taking change management and really talking about this, making sure everybody's following it, having an army of change managers, train all the people in change management, and make sure that the global squads are bloody hell also making sure that they roll it out. Yeah. Yeah, is that the solution? Not really, is it? That's not the solution. So what's the solution? The first thing we looked at is the value case. If you want to have your change program supported by the key sponsors of the program, and this is the top of the company, you need to answer the question, what's the value for them? If you don't answer this question, it's going to be very difficult. And for us, the answer was simple. We are fixing the value gap. And when you suddenly show this type of chart, then they start listening. Then they start giving you money and resources. Because what you say is, there is one thing to develop a kind of a web shop and to have it implementing in one country, let's say France, and having 20% of the sales going through this web shop, freeing up resources for more added value things for kind of tailored type of service for our customer. But if it's only done in France, which is 2% of our turnover, what's the value? Same with CRM. You can implement CRM, but if none of the account manager is using it, this is just a bloody waste of money. So, and that's what we say, the value of having change and adoption is to fix the value gap. And we're not speaking about 100K, we're speaking about millions. We're speaking of the millions. And that's how you basically got attention. The second thing we were doing is, if you want something to happen, you have to have something which is conducive to your change. Because if you say, I want to be transparent, but all the doors are closed, how transparent are you really? Yeah? So is your environment fostering what you want to see? So how can we make it easier to involve the people in the region, or more difficult to not involve them, whatever works? And then we said, okay, we have these famous 9 tribes, but what we would like also to do is something different. Is in specific markets, we have specific digital opportunity, which are market-driven. Why don't we set up these tribes and squads doing the work in the region? Let me give you 2 examples. In Latin America, we have a business-to-farmer business. Most of our company is B2B. But in Latin America, we have a business-to-farmer, so we sell directly to the farmer. This is pretty specific. And we are looking at setting up a dedicated squad in LATAM who is going to fix and look at opportunity to use digital in the business-to-farmer market. That gives a different dynamic when you come to digital, when you have your own people driving your own opportunity in the region. Is that always possible? Certainly not, because 90 or 80 to 90% is going from the top, global. But you have things like that. Another example is China. You know, if you try to do sales and marketing in China and want to do it with WhatsApp and Amazon, good luck. It's not working. You need to have the last mile with Alibaba and WeChat. Again, an opportunity to give China, you know, the accountability to develop it and feel in charge. So that's for the 10, 20%. But what do we do with the rest? How do we make the other people excited in the region about what's developing in the center? And we decided to create something I didn't see in any agile type of methodology, is what about creating adoption tribes and squads? What's about decoupling, you know, the people who are delivering a solution, prototyping it, piloting it, that's all done, and then say, okay, what about giving the accountability of scaling the solution to the region? And to do that, what about nominating in each and every region the people who are going to be accountable to do that? By doing so, you also solve an issue in design, because these people are existing. It's going to be difficult to avoid them when you design it. So a very positive side effect is if you define people, that's the account manager in China you need to contact whenever you have an impact on that account manager. These people will then be involved either very heavily if they're in a pilot region, or just informed on an ongoing basis on what's the progress of these analytics, on this program, on this product. So that's how we are designing a network and a governance which makes it easier to drive adoption. So that's then point number 2. Get a structure and governance which is conducive to what you want to see, which is involving the entire world and not only Europe. The last thing is, you remember the army of change manager? We didn't go for that. We're not very convinced, but we are very convinced about a few very good change practitioners which can start helping us to embed and melt change management into each and every tribe and each and every squad. And there are 2 things we learn is change fatigue is also because sometimes everybody's just talking about change management here and change management there. You know, some of our leaders said, stop it. You know, I'm not here to do change management. You know, I'm here to finding solutions for our customer, for malnutrition, for fixing climate change. I'm not here to do change management. That's not what we are here for. So it starts to become a buzzword. And then you start having the rejection, say, you know, leave me alone. You know, leave me alone. So what we've done is we don't even mention change management. We speak about fixing adoption issue using change management techniques. That's just taking it from the other side. We still have the same impact, but we're not promoting any change curve, any resistance management technique or theory. You know, that's all here in the background. We just use the technique whenever we feel it's the right technique to use. It's just a different angle to it. And the thing which is going back to the marriage, you know, don't pile up, integrate. What I mean with piling up, people had to learn to work agile. Already quite difficult. And say, okay, and now, by the way, you also have to understand change management. And then the third one's come, and what about design thinking? And then the fourth one's come, what about human-centric design? And people say, sorry, but, you know, I'm just human. Now tell me one thing I need to do, because I'm just lost. And there are all good reasons why we should do design thinking. There are all good reasons why we should do human-centered design and change management and agile. But if you start piling up the concepts, you just confuse people, you don't help them. So what we said, there is one line, and that's the agile process. Everything which is coming in this agile process from whatever concept, design thinking, all good, will be basically integrated in the normal agile process, which is the sprint rhythm, the retrospective, and all that stuff. And in that way, you just make it non-threatening. They don't have to learn 20,000 concepts. It's just integrated. So change-related deliverable, should it be a communication plan? Should it be a discussion with stakeholders? Should it be a nudge? Is just integrated in the normal backlog of the tribe and the squads. That's much more easy than say, on beside of doing agile, you need also to have the change thing and the design thinking. So integrate, don't pile up. And that's the same for marriage. You know, integrate. Don't be just separate. You know, in my experience, when you start to integrate is when it starts working, not when you start having 2 things which stay separate forever. Now, I'm already coming to my last slide. And my last slide is a reflection for all of you. It's a bit provocative. I like to do that. And the message is, do we want to give another crutch to our leaders? And the question this time is called, your change management expert. Yeah, for any leader, it's so comfortable to have his change management expert at hand now here. So whenever I have to deal with a change, I basically call my change management expert. He's going to call and solve it for me. By the way, he has a little brother called your communication expert. That's the other crutch. Yeah? So, and I'm just asking myself, who are we fooling here? We are in 2020. The pace of change has never been so high. Who are we fooling here? If leading is something else than driving our people to change, then what is it? So who are we fooling here? So just reflect about that. And then, and that's going to be my conclusion, I have not a hidden agenda, but I have a long-term agenda. And the long-term agenda, which is positive for the company, is not getting an army of change managers in DSM, not internal, certainly not external, but making sure that the leaders making sure that the project managers, making sure that the agile product owner, tribe owner acquire the bloody skill. That's my agenda. And if they acquire the skill, that's the way we're going to accelerate and be able to cope with much more change than we would ever if we would just have an army of managers. And you might say, is this guy smart or stupid? He's just bloody sowing the branch he's sitting on. That's his job. So is he just cutting his job off? Not at all. Not at all. By doing so, we will be able, as change management, to concentrate on the more complex thing. And the basic thing can be basically delegated to leaders who anyway should have this skill.
Thank you.